It is Top Secret Briefing Tuesday on the Florida Maquis Patreon. If you are here, you are at the $10 a month subscription level and have access to advanced training and techniques, psychological operations being identified, and identifying yourself vulnerable populations to, of course, white hat psychological operations. As we spoke of earlier on YouTube, we are going to talk about Maslow's hierarchy and how to identify where someone is in that hierarchy based on their political beliefs. Now, this doesn't always work, but 99% of the time it does. When you are at the basic level, the very bottom level, this describes actually most of the world just surviving. Most of the world gets by on $2 US a day, equivalent. Just getting enough food for the day, just getting enough water. These are your third world countries. These people are the most susceptible to psychological operations, and almost exclusively are communist in their belief system and the way that they think. We can see this in training for what we call SHTF, or survival situations, or if shit hits the fan, SHTF. Your prepper groups. What they don't realize they're doing is they are planning for a communist situation where they are going to group together with like-minded folks. They're going to pool resources, and they are going to be in survival mode. Well, that basically, in a nutshell, is communism. It's just survivalism put into a political environment that deals with a large group of people instead of a small group of people. It takes the things that you will naturally do in survival situation and just makes political policy of them. And you can put the two things together and see it every time. And of course, when you get into that situation, anybody who's not in level 1 will feel uncomfortable being there. Level 2. Freedom from fear of surviving, the second level, safety and security. You've got your food, you got your water, you got your shelter. Now you need to start feeling like you are going to be able to not only just take care of yourself, but you can maybe take care of those around you. This is socialism. This is where another good portion of the world is. If you take these two levels, now you're talking about 90 to 95% of the world right here at these two levels. And that's why they are so susceptible to psychological operations, because they are in survival mode. They hear everything and see everything in the context of how can it make my situation better? How can it make my situation more secure? They don't see themselves as being able to survive independently. They have to have a group to be able to even hope of getting to this next level up here. This third level right here, this is where capitalism comes in. This is where your conservatives are around the world. They have all of their food and their water and their survival, and they feel safe, and they're not afraid day to day. They usually have a job, but they want something more. They want something more, and that level of relaxation gives them a sense of basic freedom to choose to work in a group if they want to make things better, but also to be able to go off on their own and be independent and try new things, because this is all taken care of. And this is where they start to understand that maybe some of their belief systems down here are holding them back up here. But they're in a quandary because they think, gosh, I don't want to go back down here. So maybe I should hold on to these systems, but I know I'll never make it up here if I hold on to this. And this is where this green level right here is where all of your conservatives are. Your capitalists, your middle income types. Now it gets a little bit strange. When you get to the purple level, people become much less able to be affected by psychological operations because they feel like at this point now, these are probably your business owners, your community leaders, people that have realized that whatever decisions they've made independently, that is better than most. This is a very, very tiny group of the world right here. And to try to affect them, they would have to necessarily believe that there was something better for them that they needed from someone else. See, at this point, they see themselves getting here. All they need is a little extra time or a little extra motivation, or just to be able to continue to do things for themselves, and they will eventually end up here. A lot of people who are here actually see themselves as here already. Now, these people up here who actually are here, these are your uber super wealthy people. And these are the people that are actually conducting psychological operations on everyone else. Because they realize how tentative and how tenuous their position is. These are your progressives up here. Because they realize that there's only so much room up here. Not everybody in society is going to make it to this level. And they realize that they're different. You know, whether they believe it to be inherently different or a function of DNA or whether it's just circumstance, whatever it is, you know, these people have the time on their hands to worry about life on Mars. They have time on their hands to worry about, you know, where are we going as a society and what should we believe and all this kind of stuff. Your global warming crowd. That have the time and the money to sit around, contemplate their navel, and think about how, of course, because they've succeeded to this level, they think they have the answer for everyone else down here. So then they try to trickle down their policies. And they realize that they're going to be able to achieve the greatest effect at these two levels down here. So that's why we see communist and socialist societies always being targeted by media types. Because it's just that successful. Now, what we've seen recently is this group here, and this was actually one of the reasons I started doing videos, that normally wouldn't be all that susceptible to psychological operations being completely taken over by this with the use of fear. See, what these people are starting to believe here is that these people down here want to drag them back down into this level. And it's being basically perpetuated by these folks up here. And when you look at the definitions of communism and socialism in group norms, and the definitions of liberalism, you start to see why. Possessing a manifesting a free and generous heart, bountiful, appropriate and or fitting for a broad and enlightened mind, free from narrowness, bigotry, bondage, authority, or creed, blah, blah, all this wonderful stuff they call liberalism. And then sometimes it manifests itself in libertarianism, where they start to basically pick the best of both sides, not realizing that sometimes these two things completely disagree with each other. And that's another video for another day. But the point of today's video is understanding that when you are dealing with people at the bottom two levels, everything is going to be colored by their personal circumstance. How you're received by one group, saying the exact same thing, won't be received the same way by another. See, this is what the conservatives call socialism. And this is what the people down at the bottom call socialism. So they see it as two different things. One sees it from a positive aspect, one sees it from a negative aspect. When we go back to our triangle, down here, these people at level 1 see this as a good thing. The people here see this as a bad thing. And these people here want to make sure that nobody gets past here because of fear. As you go up Maslow's triangle, believe it or not, fear becomes more prevalent and more powerful of a motivator than it does down here. This was the whole idea when they talk about using this for interrogation. When we heard about all the stuff at Abu Ghraib and waterboarding and all this, fear doesn't work for people really at this level down here. That are they're what do we have to lose? We've lost everything. And if they're a POW or whatever, it doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. That's why using those types of techniques on people at this level are useless. But up here, it's very, very effective. That's why I think people up here are more likely to believe that those techniques are used on people down here. So, communist, socialist, capitalist, liberal, progressive. Those are your levels. Knowing who you're dealing with will give you all of the information that you need to understand whether the psychological operation you want to run is going to work or not. Or you're going to be able to identify whether these people are actually going to be ones that would use it on you. More than likely, if you're dealing with these people down here, they have no interest in changing your mind about anything. All they're interested in is surviving. It's these people here you got to worry about. So we will leave it there. Thank you very much. We do training every Tuesdays for the top secret crowd, $10 level. Tomorrow will be Need to Know Wednesdays. So like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. See you next time.